Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by Imaginary Form. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter she has to understand that choosing this wedding date would result in my family not going? 2 years ago, my brother, my nephew, and my mother were in a car accident. My mother died instantly. My brother and nephew passed away the next day. My family was small: me, my husband, daughter, parents, brother, wife, and 2 nephews. Their loss was devastating for my life and for everyone, even worse for my father and my sister-in-law. 1 year ago, my daughter Betty, 25F, was proposed by her fiancé, and preparations began. During this process, they chose the date based on the day they met, 7 years ago, and that day is exactly 2 years since the death of my brother and nephew. I tried to talk to her about moving because it is still a very difficult date for our family and even for myself, but she insisted, saying that the venue had that date available, and it would be perfect because all the other available dates aren't so good and wouldn't be so important. I respected her decision. Recently, she sent the invitations to everyone, and as I predicted, my sister-in-law, my nephew, 24M, and my father responded that they would not attend. And despite not telling her, my father and sister-in-law told me that the date choice sounded like an offense to them. I decided to remain neutral at some point. I confirmed my presence and my husband. Today, my daughter called me unhappy that no one but us confirmed. My husband doesn't have family on his side. And her family part was empty, and she expected everyone to go on that date, even more so after she explained the reason to them about the date. But they still refused. I tried to be supportive, but I said, "Love, this date is difficult even for me, but I will go to your wedding. But you have to understand that this choice of date had this consequence, and you would have to deal with the consequences of your choices." She exploded at me, saying that everyone was against her. It's not her fault the dates coincided, and everyone could make an effort to go a few hours for her. But they decided to just not go, and I was basically saying, "I told you so." She hung up without me answering, and we still haven't spoken. My husband said he understands me, but I should have stayed away from it. Am I the jerk? Our next post is by Acanthakai Willing. Am I the jerk for going to my birthday dinner without my husband when he wasn't ready on time? It was my 40th birthday a few days ago, and we had a reservation for a table at a nice restaurant for 7 p.m. It takes about 20 minutes to drive to the restaurant, so I planned to leave the house at 6:30 p.m. to build in time for traffic and picking up my father. My husband, 43M, had decided to do a bit of work on his car about half an hour before we needed to leave. At 6:30, when the kids and I were waiting by the door, he was still doing it. He hadn't changed and hadn't showered. I told him to quickly get ready, but it got to 6:50 and he still wasn't ready yet, so I decided to just leave without him. He has a habit of always running late when we go out, and he is always the last one to be ready. Normally I can tolerate it since it only sets things back by 10 minutes at the most, but my birthday dinner was important to me, and I had been looking forward to it for weeks. Making us wait for 20 minutes was taking the mick, so I yelled out that we were leaving and left because I didn't want to lose the table since we would have arrived about 7:20. I called the restaurant to let them know we would be late, and we luckily still had our table, but my husband didn't show up at the restaurant, and when we got home he was mad at me. I told him that I was tired of him not respecting my time and always making people wait for him, and that he could have made his own way to the restaurant. My father agreed with my decision to leave without him, but my kids were a little upset that he wasn't there to have dinner with us. So, am I the jerk? Our next post is by Plenty Spot. Am I the jerk for telling my daughter if she pays for her sister's college, then I will stop favoring her with my money? I will try to make this as clear as possible. My mother had a fund that was supposed to be for both of the grandchildren. She told me multiple times it was for both of the kids. She also informed the girls that they have money. She passed away unexpectedly. My oldest name, Shelley, was the only one on the fund, and it is legally hers. She didn't share it with her sister, Grace, and she has a huge head start in life with it. Due to this money, she has been able to go to college debt-free and is going to buy a house soon. My husband and I have been scrambling to give as much money as possible to Grace since she really got screwed over. Even with all our help, she still needs to take out student loans. Grace is working while in college, and she found a student job that gives free housing. The issue is that she needs a car for it. So my husband and I are going to buy her a car because turning down this job will result in a ton of extra debt for her. Shelley found out about us getting the car and is pissed. She is upset with us favoring Grace and that she never got a car from us. I pointed out she doesn't need help financially at all. We argued for a while, and I had enough. I told her that if she pays for her sister's college, then I will stop favoring her sister with my money. She called me a jerk and isn't responding. Edit. According to my mother's partner, she had the money together in order to build it up more and was going to split it when my oldest went to college. She died before that. They are full sisters, same parents. Our next post is by Jaded Band. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for cake slices that my teenage daughter ate? I, F38, am a single mom with my teenage daughter Carly, F17. My sister, F36, lives nearby with her husband and 2 kids, F9 and M7. Carly sometimes babysits her cousins on the weekends so that my sister and Bill can go out, usually for 3 to 4 hours. In exchange, my sister gives her €30 to €40, cash in hand. Me and my sister do not make Carly babysit, she volunteers to. She likes having the extra money to fund her Starbucks addiction without a part-time job in fast food or retail. Plus, the kids love getting to see her. I'm glad that she's getting to learn responsibility. I think it's a win all around. Last weekend there was a problem. A couple hours after Carly came home from babysitting, my sister calls me. It was my niece's birthday 2-ish weeks ago, and there was some leftover birthday cake in their kitchen. It was a custom-made fancy lemon curd cake, and I remember at the party a lot of the kids didn't want to eat it, so a lot was left over. Whilst she was babysitting, Carly had eaten 2 slices. My sister said that she should have asked before helping herself to the cake and that it was expensive. I apologized to my sister and told her that I would have a word with my daughter. She mentions again that the cake was custom-made and expensive and says that we should be compensating her. At first, I honestly thought she couldn't be serious, but she did want me to give her money because of the cake. I mentioned that surely the cake is going bad soon if it isn't already stale. I said this lightheartedly, trying to lighten the mood, but made it clear I am not giving her money. She says she paid €70 for the cake and she expects me to give her €20. I told her I'm not doing that. My sister says I'm being inconsiderate and that my daughter ate the slices without permission. I feel like she is being petty, and what difference would it have made if all of it got eaten last weekend or at the birthday party? Am I the jerk for refusing to pay her for the cake? Our next post is by Low Muffin. Am I the jerk for lying to my family for 2 years that my house purchase deal fell through? A few years ago, my husband and I told our relatives that we wanted to buy a country house by the lake. In our country, almost everyone lives in apartments, so our families were very happy. My mother immediately decided that she wanted to arrange a vegetable garden in the yard of this house. My husband's sister said it would be a great place where she could take her children for the summer. My sister started fantasizing about family picnics. My husband's brother joked that it would be a good place to get drunk on weekends. We were both terrified. We didn't want any of this. We wanted to have a place where we could feel truly at home, where we can rest, where we can arrange everything to your taste, where there will be peace and quiet and not family squabbles, where we can raise our future children. In the end, we decided to tell them that the deal had fallen through and there would be no house. After all, it's not even their business. We were the only ones buying the house and it has nothing to do with them. We didn't have to tell them. We only told the truth to our best friends, whom we were sure would not spoil anything. The house is really beautiful and my friends and I often go there on weekends. Well, 2 years have passed and my sister found out about the house by accident because one of my friends posted a photo from there. Now our families are furious and call us greedy. Many of the relatives don't want to talk to us until we give them the address. My mom even asked for spare keys. This is exactly the hype that we tried so hard to avoid. I don't think we're assholes, but my husband is starting to hesitate about what we should have done, so outside advice can help us. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.